Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel where we bring you the most inspiring and life-changing stories. Stories that light a fire in your heart and help you learn English naturally. Today, I am going to tell you about a boy who was told he had no talent. A boy who was cut from his high school basketball team. A boy who went home, closed his door, and cried until he could not cry anymore. He was told he was too short, too slow, not good enough. The coach looked at him and said, "You cannot play at this level." But that boy did something that few people do. He took that pain, that rejection, that burning humiliation, and he turned it into fuel. He became the greatest basketball player the world has ever seen. His name? Michael Jordan. How did a skinny kid who could not even make his high school team become a six-time NBA champion, a global icon, and a symbol of greatness? How did he turn failure into an art form and prove to the entire world that talent is not born, it is made? This is the story of a boy who refused to accept the word no. And it is a story that will change the way you think about your own failures. And as always, this story is a powerful way to improve your English. Through clear, engaging storytelling, rich vocabulary, and real-life inspiration, you will learn while you listen. Now, let us begin from the very start. Michael Jeffrey Jordan was born on February 17, 1963, in Brooklyn, New York. He was the fourth of 5 children in the Jordan family. His father, James Jordan, worked hard to support the family. His mother, Dolores, was the strong, loving center of the home. When Michael was still very young, the family moved to Wilmington, North Carolina, a quiet town near the coast. The Jordan household was busy, loud, and competitive. Michael had 2 older brothers, Larry and James Jr., an older sister, Dolores, and a younger sister, Roslyn. From the very start, Michael had to fight for everything. He had to fight for the last piece of food at dinner. He had to fight for space in the small house. And most of all, he had to fight to win at sports. His older brother Larry was his greatest rival. Larry was a year older, a little stronger, and a little faster. They played basketball in the backyard almost every single day. They would battle for hours, pushing each other, fouling each other, shouting and laughing. And in those early years, Larry usually won. He was simply bigger and more developed. Michael hated losing. Hated it with every fiber of his being. He would cry when he lost. He would grab Larry and demand another game. "One more," he would say. "Just one more." Larry would beat him again, and Michael would cry again. But slowly, those defeats were teaching him something. They were building a fire inside him that would never go out. At school, Michael was not a star student. He was bright, but his mind was always on sports. Baseball, football, and especially basketball. He loved the feeling of the ball in his hands. He loved the squeak of shoes on the wooden floor. He loved the swish of the net when the ball went through perfectly. Basketball was not just a game to him. It was a language. And he was determined to be fluent. In the fall of his sophomore year in high school, Michael tried out for the varsity basketball team. He was a thin boy, about 5 feet 10 inches tall. He was quick and could jump reasonably well, but he was not the biggest or the strongest player by any means. He walked into the tryouts full of hope. He ran hard. He shot well. He gave everything he had. At the end of the tryouts, the coach posted a list of names on the gym door. The names of the players who had made the team. Michael rushed to the door with his heart pounding. He scanned the list. Then he scanned it again. And again. His name was not there. He had been cut. The coaches had chosen another player, a taller sophomore named Leroy Smith. Michael was devastated. He walked out of the gym in a daze. His legs felt heavy, like they were made of lead. He went straight home, not speaking to anyone. He walked up to his bedroom, closed the door, and locked it. And then, alone, the boy broke down and cried. He sobbed like his heart had been torn out. All the work, all the dreams, all the hours in the backyard, it felt like it was all for nothing. His mother heard him crying. Dolores Jordan was a wise woman. She did not try to open the door. She did not tell him everything was okay. She stood outside and said, "If you really want it, you have to go back and work harder. Crying will not get you on the team. Work will." Those words cut through the fog of pain. Michael stopped crying. He sat up. Something shifted inside him. A dark, powerful resolve. He would show them. He would prove every single person who doubted him wrong. That moment of rejection became the most important moment of his life. He later said, "Whenever I was working out and got tired and figured I ought to stop, I would close my eyes and see that list in the gym without my name on it. That usually got me going again." From that day forward, Michael Jordan became a different person. He woke up at 5 o'clock every morning to practice before school. His high school coach, Coach Herring, who had cut him from varsity, allowed him to play on the junior varsity team. Michael did not pout or complain. He attacked the JV games like they were the NBA Finals. He scored 40 points a game, sometimes more. He was a man on a mission. His teammate and friend, Leroy Smith, the very player who had taken his varsity spot, later said, "Michael worked harder than anyone I had ever seen. He played every game like his life depended on it." That summer, Michael grew. His body shot up 4 inches. He was now 6 feet 3 inches tall. But more than that, his skills exploded. He practiced his dribbling until his fingers were raw. He took hundreds of jump shots a day. He ran sprints on the track, pushing his speed to new levels. He lifted weights with an intensity that scared the older boys. When he returned for his junior year, no one could ignore him. He made the varsity team easily. He became the star player. College scouts started coming to his games. And in his senior year, he was named a McDonald's All-American, one of the best high school players in the entire country. The boy who was not good enough was now the player everyone wanted. In 1981, Michael Jordan accepted a scholarship to play basketball at the University of North Carolina. The coach was a legendary man named Dean Smith. Coach Smith was strict. He demanded discipline, teamwork, and humility. Michael was a raw talent, but Coach Smith taught him how to play the game the right way. He taught him defense. He taught him to make his teammates better. In his freshman year, Michael was named the ACC Freshman of the Year. But the real magic happened in the 1982 NCAA championship game. North Carolina was facing Georgetown, a powerhouse team led by a giant center named Patrick Ewing. The game was close. The clock was winding down. The entire season rested on one shot. With just 15 seconds left, Coach Smith called a timeout. He drew up a play. The ball would go to Michael Jordan, a freshman, a kid who just a few years earlier could not make his high school team. The pressure was enormous. Millions of people were watching on television. The ball was passed to Michael on the left side of the court. He rose up. His feet left the floor. His wrist flicked perfectly. The ball sailed through the air in a beautiful arc. And then swish. Nothing but net. North Carolina won the national championship. Michael Jordan leaped into the air, his face a picture of pure joy. That shot changed everything. The world now knew his name. In 1984, Michael Jordan entered the NBA draft. He was selected third overall by the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls were not a good team. They were one of the worst teams in the league. The fans were not excited. Chicago was a cold city, and the Bulls played in a half-empty stadium. But all of that was about to change. From his very first season, Michael Jordan was electric. He flew through the air like a bird. He dunked the ball with a ferocity no one had ever seen. He scored 28 points a game and won the Rookie of the Year award. The fans fell in love instantly. They called him Air Jordan. He was not just a player. He was an experience. But individual success was not enough. The playoffs were a different world. And in that world, a nightmare was waiting for Michael Jordan. Its name was the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons were a team of tough, physical, relentless men. They were known as the Bad Boys. Their strategy against Michael was simple and brutal. They called it the Jordan Rules. Whenever Michael drove to the basket, they would hit him hard. They would knock him to the ground. They would elbow him. They would grab him. They would do anything and everything to stop him. For 3 long years, the Pistons crushed Michael's dreams. Year after year, the Bulls would face Detroit in the playoffs. And year after year, the Pistons would win. They pushed him. They beat him. They laughed at him. After one painful loss, Michael sat in the locker room and wept. He had given everything, and it was still not enough. But Michael Jordan did not complain. He did not ask for help. He did not make excuses. He did what he had always done since the day he saw his name missing from that list on the gym door. He went back to work. He began a brutal training program. He lifted weights with a passion that transformed his body. He added muscle to absorb the punishment. He studied the Pistons' defense until he knew every move they would make. He pushed his teammates to train harder. He became a leader not just by scoring points, but by demanding excellence from everyone around him. The quiet kid who had cried in his bedroom was now a fierce, unstoppable warrior. In the 1991 Eastern Conference Finals, the Bulls faced the Pistons again. This time, it was different. Michael was stronger. The Bulls were ready. They swept the Pistons in 4 games. They destroyed the monster that had haunted them. As the final seconds ticked away, the Pistons players, in an act of poor sportsmanship, walked off the court without shaking hands. They were bitter. But Michael did not care. He had conquered his demons. The Bulls advanced to the NBA Finals against the Los Angeles Lakers. They won the series in 5 games. In the final moments, Michael held the championship trophy and cried. All the years of pain, the rejection, the failure, the hard work, it all poured out of him. He was finally a champion. But one was not enough. Michael Jordan led the Chicago Bulls to 3 consecutive NBA championships in 1991, 1992, and 1993. He was the undisputed king of basketball. He won MVP awards. He won scoring titles. He became the most famous athlete on the planet. His face was everywhere. His shoes were on every foot. The name Jordan meant greatness. And then, in July of 1993, tragedy struck. Michael's father, James Jordan, was driving home late at night when 2 men robbed and murdered him. They took his car and dumped his body in a swamp. The news shattered Michael. His father was his best friend, his mentor, his rock. James Jordan had been the one who told him to never give up. The bond between them was unbreakable. In October of that same year, Michael Jordan shocked the entire world. He announced his retirement from basketball. He said his heart was no longer in the game. He was only 30 years old, still at the peak of his powers. The world could not believe it. But Michael was lost in grief and searching for something new. He did something no one expected. He decided to play baseball. His father had always dreamed of Michael becoming a professional baseball player. So Michael signed with the Chicago White Sox organization and played for their minor league team, the Birmingham Barons. Baseball was hard. Very hard. Michael had not played competitive baseball since high school. He struggled. He struck out often. Critics said he was embarrassing himself. But Michael kept working. He woke up early. He practiced for hours. He took extra batting practice. He did not care about the critics. He was playing for his father. After a season, Michael felt the pull of basketball again. The world needed him. The game needed him. And deep down, he needed the game. On March 18, 1995, Michael Jordan released a simple, two-word statement: "I'm back." The entire world stopped. News channels interrupted their programs. Newspapers ran massive headlines. The king was returning to his throne. But the return was not easy. The Bulls lost in the playoffs that year to a young, hungry Orlando Magic team. Critics said Michael was too old. He had lost a step. The magic was gone. Michael Jordan heard those whispers. And he did exactly what he had done his entire life. He went back to the gym. That summer, he trained like a madman. He worked on his body, his game, his mind. He was not just coming back. He was coming back to dominate. The next season, the 1995-96 season, the Bulls were a machine. They won 72 games, a record that stood for 2 decades. Michael led them to 3 more championships in 1996, 1997, and 1998. A second three-peat. 6 championships in total. One of the most legendary moments came in the 1997 finals against the Utah Jazz. The night before a crucial game, Michael fell seriously ill. He had a stomach virus or food poisoning. He could barely stand. He was pale, sweating, and weak. But he dragged himself onto the court and played 44 minutes. He scored 38 points and hit the game-winning shot. After the final buzzer, he collapsed into his teammate Scottie Pippen's arms. It became known simply as the flu game. It was the ultimate expression of will over body. In 1998, Michael hit his final iconic shot as a Bull. With the clock ticking down in Game 6 of the finals, he stole the ball, dribbled down the court, crossed over his defender, and sank the game-winning basket. The image of him holding his follow-through is one of the most famous in sports history. It was the perfect ending. He retired again in 1999. And once more, he came back, this time playing for the Washington Wizards at nearly 40 years old. He was no longer the young kid who could fly. But his passion for the game still burned bright. Michael Jordan's legacy is not just the 6 rings. It is not just the MVP trophies or the scoring titles. It is the mentality. The refusal to accept failure. The belief that hard work beats talent when talent does not work hard. The understanding that the greatest opponent is not the other team. It is the voice inside your head that says you cannot do it. Now, what can we learn from the incredible journey of Michael Jordan? First, failure is fuel. The moment Michael was cut from his high school team was the moment that created the legend. He did not let rejection define him. He let it refine him. When you fail, you have a choice. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you. Choose to build. Second, talent is not enough. Michael Jordan was talented, yes. But so were hundreds of other players who never became great. What separated him was his work ethic. He practiced harder than anyone else. He trained when others slept. He pushed himself beyond his limits. If you want to be exceptional, you must be willing to do what ordinary people will not do. Third, embrace the hard times. The Detroit Pistons punished Michael for years. But instead of making him weaker, those battles made him stronger. He learned, adapted, and came back better. Your struggles are not your enemy. They're your teacher. Face them. Learn from them. Grow through them. Fourth, love what you do. Michael Jordan played with a deep, visible joy. Even in the hardest moments, he loved the game. That love carried him through the pain and the sacrifice. If you love what you are doing, the hard work does not feel like a burden. It feels like a privilege. And finally, never, ever give up. Michael Jordan once said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times, I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed." You are on your own journey. You are learning English. You may feel like you are failing. You may feel like the words will never stick, like the goal is too far away. But remember the boy who was cut from his high school team. Remember the list on the gym door that did not have his name. That boy did not stop. He did not give up. He turned his pain into power. You can do the same. Every word you learn is a practice shot. Every mistake is a lesson. Every struggle is a stepping stone to your future greatness. You may not become the Michael Jordan of basketball, but you can become the Michael Jordan of your own life. You can be the one who refuses to quit, the one who works harder, the one who proves the doubters wrong. Michael Jordan once said, "Some people want it to happen. Some people wish it would happen. Others make it happen." Which one are you? The wanters and the wishers are everywhere. Be the one who makes it happen. Thank you for listening to this story. If it touched your heart or gave you new strength, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Share this with someone who needs to hear it today. And tell me in the comments, what part of Michael Jordan's journey inspired you the most? I read every comment. Until next time, keep working, keep dreaming, and remember, limits, like fears, are often just an illusion. Bye for now.